first two people to admit to me that I stopped them from committing suicide.
They came up to you.
One man cried in my arms. The other bought me dinner. This board could reach 43 kilometers an hour.
Wow, that's fast.
Fun fact about this deck, I pushed it past 80, but I'm supposed to care about you when you're upset?
The posture around and how they go about going into work, going out of work.
Because they're different? How would you feel if somebody did that to you?
Rather than focusing on the reward, which is like the title, the status.
Exactly.
Kind of that degree of...
Because the Glenrose Brain Clinic and the U of A told me I shouldn't even be breathing from the head injury. They said right now, I should be drooling out the moves and going, yeah. Okay. Severe ADHD. And I'm always looking around. And you say, not today, not today.
Yeah. All right. This is Caden Skelton, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
You may know him dancing around baseline, all around Sherwood Park. Local legend right here. Thank you so much for coming, man.
My pleasure and real honor to be here.
Yeah. Well, what first drew you to dancing, and why do you choose to perform with the helmet on?
That's a good question. So, I wanted to just do something more, because I'm sitting there on my longboard. I'm just kind of bobbing the head back and forth. And it was like, okay, this is no. I need to do more than just bob the head, right? And this is after my head injury. And, my grandparents, they bought me this helmet. And it was like, okay, so we need more. And so I'm like, okay, the worst thing that could happen is people are going to hate me, right? That's all I thought would happen. So I'm like, okay, we'll just do a little boogie, So start boogieing around. And people were talking about me on Facebook groups. And people were trying to figure out who I was, who I am. And there was misconceptions that I was like a 40-year-old. There was people complaining about me, but nothing really came up about it until late last year with police.
At first, you're just like bobbing your head around in the corner?
Like this. Just like this on my deck.
So why'd you start doing it?
Well, it brought me joy, right? I was listening to good music.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted more.
And you had a helmet on at this time too?
Yes.
And you're advocating, right, for that?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm a heavy advocate for it.
For that, ever since that incident.
Correct.
Yeah. Or can you tell the viewers about that incident that kickstarted your entire journey?
So I'm riding my first electric longboard. I got it about the end of May of 2023, right? I'm riding it, and this didn't really hit my head, like in the mind at least, that I was going to injure myself. Because again, I'm a kid, right? And just like every other kid, nothing bad's going to happen. No, right? And so I'm riding. This board could reach 43 kilometers an hour.
Wow, that's fast.
Fun fact about this deck, I pushed it past 80.
You pushed
going down a hill.
Wow. How do you even stay on there?
Well, it's crouching and clenching your ass cheeks. Just hoping nothing bad's going to happen.
You're like, ah.
Exactly. I was shaking, man, too. I'd never gone that fast. And the board, it just flew up. And mind you,
were you on 80 at this time?
No. This was me going about 38 kilometers.
Wow, but still that fast without a helmet on.
Correct.
Damn.
And so the board flew up.
Mm-hmm.
I smacked my head on the ground. Basal skull fracture. Nearly severed my carotid artery. Blew my right eardrum. A severe moderate brain injury. Short temporary coma on site. There was a whole personality shift.
What were you like before?
I somewhat similar to how I am now, but I was more, and people call me a hippie for this mindset. I have friends and family that are like, dude, that thinking is wrong, right? I was more so about getting the job, about the work life. I wanted to be an agricultural technician. I wanted to work on farm vehicles. But now I'm about freedom. I'm about not working to live, or sorry, living to work. That I'm not about that anymore. I'm about freedom. You get paid enough to live, right? But it's a substantial amount. And then you go and you become free with it, not chained to a desk or to a wrench or to a hammer, right? You are only chained by what your money can get you for freedom. So let's say you want to buy that sports car, go buy it, right? That's what I'm about. That you can get care at a hospital, not because you fund the government, but because you're a human being that deserves the right.
Okay, so you don't want to just keep working for no end goal.
Correct.
You want something
More.
that I'm sorry?
I want something more than that. I want the end goal to be on your deathbed. You can sit there and say, I'm fulfilled.
Okay. And for you, that's dancing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is showing people that I am free, you know. Like I have tattoos I got the day after I turned 18. They're
Oh,
from
dope.
BioShock. It's
Video game. Yeah.
correct. You
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah,
Good.
no, my buddy talked about it all the time back then. Yeah.
And in the game, these chains in the first game that Jack has, I think it's Jack. I don't know. That name's stuck in my head for a reason. Anyways, it means that he's a slave to his DNA. But to me, the tattoos mean I'm a slave to myself and only myself.
You get to decide what
Correct.
to work for rather than a company or other people dictating what your future is going to be. You keep on reflecting as to who you're going to be and what you're going to become and what you're going to want. Right.
Exactly.
And so if you want a sports car, you go and get that sports car, right? Not like, and you're going to work towards trying to afford that despite what society says, despite what other people may think. Because of course you're going to be swayed a certain way, right? Because like a lot of people want this, a lot of people want that. That seems like a prestigious job. But for you, you want what makes you more fulfilled. So you can be on your deathbed and go, I lived a fulfilling life, true to myself. It may be silly, it may be serious, but it's true to myself.
Exactly.
Did I understand that correctly?
You definitely did. That is what dancing means to me, right? That is what the helmet means to me, is that I'm protecting the most vital part of me. Without the brain, for most cases anyways, without the brain, you can't function. There are some that are brain dead that the heart still beats. They're the lucky ones, right? But I'm safe and I'm able to keep myself together and I'm able to spread the joy.
Do you think you would have found this resolve, this mode of thinking, if that accident didn't happen?
No,
Huh?
I can tell you with certainty that my dream I had already started working towards it. I had a recommendation letter from my mechanics teacher. I had mechanics skills. I had welding skills. I had woodworking skills under my belt. I was prepared, right? I had that drive. I had that ambition that you see all these kids having, and looking back, even now, sometimes I'm like, I wish, you know, I wish had that. But then I remember how many people have that and they're depressed. I look at how my family reacted when they were coming home after work and they're crying and they're mad and they're just complaining and moaning and whining about all this. And it's like, you love your job? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, why are you moaning and whining? And they're like,
Mhm.
I just don't like the people. And I'm like, but your job entails you to work with people. And they're like, doesn't matter. Like, you don't love your job. You like certain aspects of the job. You love the cars. You love the soaps. You love the hammer. Everything else you hate. And they tell me I'm wrong. And then the next day, the cycle continues.
Yeah. Well, you see a like pattern recognition, right? You see somebody walk, and it's very telling, the posture around and how they go about going into work, going out of work. So you living with certain family members, right? You get to see if they actually truly love their work, or if they're just bullshitting, or if they think they want it but they actually don't, and what do they actually want to do, right?
That's
And
just
usually it's
exactly
not
it.
that job, because if you give them $10 million, like, they would quit and pursue something else, right?
That's exactly
I think
it.
it's like a big majority of the United States. They had a survey, and it's like, what, like 80% of people don't like their jobs.
No,
Don't quote me on that, but it's like something high, where like people are disgruntled. People don't want to keep working, and it's in various fields, right?
yeah.
And what would you say to people that hate their jobs, that want to switch?
What I would say to them is what a lot of other business moguls I've seen say. Before you start working truly in that field to the full extent, you go and you get that degree. Try and, if you can, try and become like this is the trade sides of me talking, the suit, right? Be the person that comes to work in a suit or a dress, right? Do that work. Hear the stories. If you want to become, a lawyer, try and see if you can do an internship, right? Instead of fully diverting all efforts without working in that sector, spend some time, feel it. Know exactly, is this what I want? Or am I looking for that high up position that I'm only going to see when I'm 80 years old and I own the company? Is that what you're really after? Or do you want something lower end? See if you like working in that field. So if you want to go into welding, okay, well, for that, you're going to have to either take welding in school or, you can go to Nate or Olds College and take the welding class, right? Take the mechanics class, take the woodworking class, even in high school. Take that, feel it out. Okay, so I have to do this and I have to deal with the noise. It has to look like this. Am I good with numbers? Do I have that vision? Right? Can I handle that hot metal? Can I deal with leaving the class and I go to have a shower and I'm coughing up smoke and my body's sore? can I deal with that for the next 50, 60 years?
Yeah. Well, rather than focusing on the reward, which is like the title, the status, kind of
Exactly.
that degree of like, oh, a doctor, right, or a
Yeah.
lawyer in that suit, you just picture the prestige and the
Yeah.
adoration. Actually, go in there and envision what it's gonna be like being a doctor. You know, the 16-hour surgeries, like the sick
Exactly. Yeah.
people, being away from your family, being on call, your circadian rhythm being interrupted, the 12 years of school. It's like all that. That's part of the process, and you need to be able to pursue that as well. You need to be able to want that. Like if somebody looks at a celebrity and go, oh wow, Brad Pitt, all the girls love him, and he's such a great actor. I want to be like him. But then, yes, you look at that, but you also have to absorb and you also have to want the bad things.
Oh,
Okay, is
definitely.
he up at night because there's a lot of scrutiny? Like a lot of people in the celebrity status aren't able to go to just the mall. Like if you went to Sherwood Park Mall and you were like Drake, like you wouldn't be able to have a peace
Oh
of
no.
mind because everybody's approaching you, right? Well, do you want that, or do you just like the idea of it?
That's exactly it,
You know?
right? Like for the welding, I'm an apprentice welder. I'm a first year apprentice welder. I can't stand waking up at 3 in the morning, going to bed at 8 o'clock at night, and repeating that for the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I was working 4 10s.
Yeah, it's tough, man. You know, it weighs on you.
Yeah.
And like, what, you're going to do that for 10, 20 years? Like, yes, the money's good. Like, you could be making 100 grand per year, you know, easy. But then the smoke and then the sleep,
The
it's like,
cancer, the lung
yeah,
cancer, and the eye
yeah,
damage is
yeah.
insane.
But so dancing for you has given you a chance to feel fulfilled, right? To be you.
Yes.
Like, were you always into dancing?
Um, yes and no. I've always had like that little bit of spark in the dance, right? But I've always been more of a singer, which is why when I'm out there, I also do a lot of singing, a lot of rapping, right? I and then I also took acting classes in junior high, right? So I know how to act. Yet I never fully spoke about this and properly articulated it. A lot of times when I'm out there singing songs or rapping, I'm nearly crying with a lot of those songs.
Feel it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's to the point where, like, when I'm out there and you see me wipe my eyes, that's not sweat. That's not me acting. I'm actually wiping away
You're feeling that.
tears.
Yeah. What goes through your mind? Like, how are you feeling?
I'm imagining, with like songs like Sleep Token or some of the songs like JT Music songs, right? Or even 3 Days Grace, Animal I've Become. That one is a favorite
That's a
one.
banger, dude. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I'm out there pointing, when I'm falling to my knees and I'm pouring my soul, my essence, my very self at the target, whether that be my younger self that I wish I could have helped, that I could have given my secrets, my knowledge, my tips and tricks. I sometimes I'm singing it and I'm telling it to my family that I wish they could understand because for me, like my family, most of them are mentally ill or neurodivergent, right? Yet I tell them how exactly I'm feeling, what it's doing to me. And instead of, okay, we understand, it's don't care, man up. But I'm supposed to care about you when you're upset, when I'm out there, like for sleep tokens chokehold, that one, I'm actively like choking myself out there because for me, that is how I'm feeling, how I'm directing my anger and my feelings to the person I'm singing about, the people I'm singing about. For JT Music's Nightmares Have an End, I think is what it's called. It's talking about how there's some nightmares have an end, some nightmares never end, right? And I'm pointing and I'm like twisting, and it's nightmares, some never end. That is, I'm actively singing about my personal nightmares and how they will never end because of the past, and this also pisses me off a lot when people say, like the past is in the past, don't worry about it. Never in the past. If it was in the past, we never would have forgotten about it. We look at the past and we reflect on the future and how the past happened and how it could become. So we're not a preemptive strike. What is the word I'm looking for? We're anticipating this to happen. So that's what I'm singing about there, right? And I'm feeling it.
When you're out there,
Yeah,
listening to Sleep Token, 3 Days Grace, Animal, myriad of songs.
yes,
You feel it with your mind, body, and soul. And you said with that one song, you feel you're choking and you're reflecting on the things that have happened in the past, about the things that you've gone through, about the family members that were there for you that weren't. And it's not just a dance for you, right? It's a self-expression. It's to be able to heal, to look at your past and mourn for the kid that have gone through the tumultuous times.
Yeah.
Right. And now you see that has it been healing for you being able to do this?
It is. And I hope that for those that struggle, that see it, as much as it's healing for me, I also hope it's healing for those that are going through something similar.
You want it to be known to others that you can express yourself, that you can talk about your feelings.
Correct.
Because it's very traditional back then to just put the bootstraps on, don't tell anyone, right? But for you, the truth has always been something that you ran away from before you went dancing, right? And that's kind of caused a lot of turmoil deep inside. But now, since you've been following the truth, life's been better, right?
Exactly.
You feel more connected and you feel like you're a part of something greater. And it's the more you do it, right, the more you heal, right? And of course, life's never going to be perfect, right? There's going to be times where it's just going to be tough and times where it's going to be great. But you still go in there and you try to follow and run towards the truth. And whether that be dancing, whether that be singing, rap, you go about it with the lens of, okay, I'm not going to shy away from the bad. The bad's a part of me. You accept that and you go, okay, that's something that will drive me towards a better future. Everything into account.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did I capture that?
You actually did perfectly.
Yeah. You're very well spoken. You're very see, truth be told, I thought we were just gonna have giggles here about a little dance, but this is some deep stuff, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
this is some deep stuff. Yeah, you're out there, and David Goggins has this quote of, "You only find peace when you decide to go to war with yourself." Would you say that that's kind of resonates with you?
more
Yeah.
than you could ever know.
You every day, right? You're battling. You're trying to not to give up. Now, you've had a lot of support from the Sherwood Park community,
Yes.
hey? And from the TikTok that I posted, there were so many people that commented, "Oh, this guy, I see this guy every day on my way to work, on my way to work, from work, dropping my kids off, or he's just awesome." And so, how is the community responding to your dancing? Um, and what's one moment that reminded you of why you keep doing it?
So there's the good and the bad. Over 10 attempts on my life. I've had children threaten my life.
They try to run you over, right? You told me
Yeah.
that on the TikTok. Like, I'm sure do you think they'll actually?
Well,
They're just trying to be funny, right? But to you, you're there. If they make a mistake, that's your
yeah, and
life.
especially when I'm on the road,
Yeah,
like I'm off to the side.
yeah.
You can go around me. I don't care if you're in this, couple $100,000 car and you got 500 horsepower and it's the road's yours. That's a school zone on a school day during school hours. What gives you the right to go 70 kilometers? I don't care how you got to go to that hair appointment that's happening in an hour and it's a 5-minute drive. I don't care. The only people I'm actually going to pull right over and stop for are emergency vehicles. There was nothing so pressing, even somebody dying in the hospital. Plan your day better.
So these are separate from people trying to run you over.
Oh no, these are people that have actively. These are people going 70 and a 30 on a school zone on a school day.
And they're trying to hit you.
Oh yeah, I remember this car so vividly. It was a white Porsche, had some gold trim on it. Is just I'm going, and this is going past Clover Bar, high school, or not high school, junior high, and I'm just pulling up to Millshaven. Person in this white Porsche, I'm off to the side. I'm riding through rocks. Like I'm already putting myself at a danger. But I'm giving you the room. You can go around. I'm going 38 and a 30. Okay. So if I'm not going fast enough for you, boo hoo, suck it up. I'm breaking the law myself. I admitted this to the commissioner. And he's like, okay, continue. We'll discuss that at a later point. I'm like, got it. Came beside me, started shoving me into the other cars. I nearly took out 3 people's mirrors.
Oh, geez, that sucks.
And so I brake on rocks. That's scary.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially when you're going 38 kilometers. That's terrifying. And he gets in front of me. I'm like, okay, I'm slowing down. Slams on his brakes.
Okay. So this guy's approaching you, and then this is when you're dancing near a school?
Yeah.
And
on my longboard.
On your longboard. You're dancing on your longboard.
Yeah, I'm just doing this.
But then he comes in and starts to come at you, try to put you in the side.
Yep.
And
then he brake checks me. I got that close to hitting him. And he sped off. Okay. I couldn't even get his license plate.
You weren't stationary though, right? You were just cruising along past the school?
Yeah.
Wow. And then when you dance in that near baseline, do people do that too?
No, because I was informed by police officers that even though technically I can and can't be on the road. I shouldn't, because the amount of people that have tried to injure me or kill me has risen too high. So they said, if at all possible, never go on the road.
Okay. So right in the corner is where you're safe.
Yeah. Even then,
Safety.
people have tried, like, there's a couple of guys, they've rolled coal in my face, which honestly, like, I'm a truck guy, you know. I see a nice lifted truck and you roll some coal, I'm like, yeah, let's go, you know. So
Yeah.
I was excited to see that, you know, but they did it in my face, and I'm like,
Like disrespectfully. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't care, man. This is a badge of honor. I love this. You
Yeah.
know, you're gonna probably get a ticket for this if a cop sees it. I'm not gonna.
Like roll coal on your face.
Yeah,
Like,
black smoke.
oh, that's what you meant. I thought they actually
Oh
like
no,
chuck
no, no,
coal.
no, black smoke right in my face. And then there was one guy back at the end of December from the east side of Baseline all the way to the west, who was trying to spray me with snow and ice. Instead, he wiped out, nearly hit a truck.
Instant karma. Those are
I
always
know,
good.
and I laughed.
Yeah.
And then he stopped,
Yeah.
turned, parked in front of Staples, and sat on the hood of his car yelling something at me. I just waved and I went back to dancing. I'm like, I'm not going to deal with that.
Well, that's the price you need to pay after doing it for so long, right? And after
yeah.
having so many people that are inspired, there are always going to be people that don't like what you're doing for whatever reason. It could
Yeah.
be, you could reflect on all the things as to why they could hate you for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
It's like they just feel hate in their hearts and they want to dish it out at someone, you know, whoever.
And I'm a perfect target.
But you can't let that
Slide.
override. Yeah, you can't let that slide though. You have to fight for yourself, but you can't let that override the positive experiences too, because there's countless. Like you get. Let's talk about the positive now.
So it's a two-step journey.
Sure.
The positive. First one is the kids, right? Because, you know, my family, they tell me like, you had such a great childhood, you know, and you're a happy guy. And it's like, I didn't have any friends. People would play video games with me. You know, they'd come to my house and play video games with me. They never played with me at school. They never came to my birthday party. They weren't my friends. They were just kids that were taking advantage of the fact that I had a souped up console at the time. So for me, seeing those kids' joy when I didn't have any fills me with pride at the fact that maybe their lives aren't great, you know, but seeing me brings just a little bit of light in their life, you know. It wiping away some of that darkness even for a second, you know. And they see someone exuding life and joy, exuding the message of be yourself. Don't care what others think. And makes me so happy to see that. The other one, second part, is the two men that came forward, the first two people to admit to me that I stopped them from committing suicide.
Really? They came up to you.
One man cried in my arms. The other bought me dinner.
Wait.
That was heavy to learn. And that was in the span of 3 weeks that they came.
3 weeks apart from each other?
3 weeks apart. The first one, I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah. That's probably when you thought like, wow, like what I'm doing ain't just some silly stuff anymore. Eh?
That truly solidified that it wasn't just like, oh, we love seeing you, man. That's awesome. And then people go,
yeah.
You know, it was real.
Much deeper.
Exactly. And the second man, he cried in my arms. that was heavy because, like I've seen men cry, right? I've cried myself. But to be holding a man together in my arms, that was, I don't know if you've ever had to do that yourself.
I've had to do that with some friends,
So you
But
know
never-
that
yeah.
weight, that
Yeah.
you were holding
Yeah.
your actions
Yeah.
in your arms.
I've had people hold me and it's just need some. You don't even need advice sometimes, right? You just need someone to hold you.
No. I added, he recommended a song to me, Le Cactus,
The cactus.
and I put that in the playlist.
Oh yeah, you gotta publish your playlist, man.
I do have the playlist. It's public.
Yeah. Oh sweet.
Yeah.
I'll link it. I'll link it.
Yeah.
But man, it's just it's tough. Every day we struggle, hey, and it's just all it takes is kind of little how are you, right? And when you see some guy dancing and you have a smile on their face, like maybe I shouldn't jump off that cliff today. Maybe life is worth living. Maybe that smile that they got that day was the only joy that they've ever had. And like so first you started off with helmet advocacy.
Yeah.
Where like, oh, you need to make a change, and you just like dancing, right? You get in there and you start doing your little groove, and first there's a little head bop, and then eventually you add more actions into there. You put more feeling. As it escalates, you get more recognition. People try to run you off. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
More positive interactions. Honk, honk, honk. Oilers game. Hey buddy, what's up?
Yeah.
But then people come to you and tell you, hey man, you saved my life. And that's probably when you decided, hey, that it's just, wow, this is so much bigger than me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's awesome, man.
It's just that the weight of knowing I am the pillar that stayed their hand.
Yeah.
That is something completely different. It's that in of itself is a heavy, honorable burden to carry.
So you've spoken openly about struggling with certain thoughts, right? And being misunderstood. What has helped you survive and keep showing up?
Would be, I'd have to give thanks to my grandfather. He told me, like, you're going to struggle in life, you're going to have to climb mountains, valleys, hills. You might have to crawl through a cave. There's going to be possibly, creatures, like wolves, tigers, stuff like that, trying to stop you, trying to break you down. But there's always going to be, either a nice glade or, the top of the mountain with the best breeze. Might even be a little lawn chair right there to lay down and just relax, because that break is going to end. And soon you're going to have to go on to the next journey, the next battle, whether that battle be, going and crossing a river and there's no trees or sticks nearby. You're going to have to swim across that river, so you take that break, you take it, you relish in it, because what you just went through, there's going to be little tips and tricks and secrets that you learned that might help you through this next journey, or might be 2 journeys away, might be 4, might even be 1,000 battles you have to go past before one of these little bits of information that you learned comes to light. But it's going to be there. It's going to help strengthen you. So it's important to know that while the battle's never going to end, you're going to be stronger at the very least after each one. You know, my scars aren't physical, they're all mental. I've met countless people with physical scars, some of them a little concerning. Yet, they're still here. They learned, right? Sadly, some people, they didn't have that person, that inspiration. They didn't have the teachings. And for that breaks my heart, because there's always someone there, someone trying to help. Yet they didn't get there in time. But all you have to do is hang on just a little longer.
Yeah. I like what your grandpa said about there are going to be valleys and then peaks, right? And to get to the peaks, you need to trudge forward into the rivers and fight some wolves and bears and
Yep.
our mental. It's constantly like this every day. I mean, the way society is, right? It's never like kumbaya. It's always, it's tough, man. Life is suffering. There's so many things that go wrong, dreams that aren't materialized. There's a lot of abuse going around, a lot of shame that we feel. And you just can't forget that this ain't forever, you know,
No.
and there are people that love you, because for the people that didn't continue, right? There's someone hurting right now thinking about them.
Exactly.
And if not, they could have been someone in someone's life, and that never materialized because they hit surrender too soon, right? How do you deal with all the thoughts in your head? Like, how do you go about it now versus back then? Like, let's start with back then. What was it like back then?
It was, if you'd met me when I was in elementary, you would have been like, damn, you autistic?
Really?
Oh, yeah. Then if you'd met me again in junior high, you'd be like, was he autistic? Then you met me in high school, you would have been like, who? Who are you? It's, as a kid, I was very happy, very bubbly, very naive. My family told me, they like to claim, no, we didn't. We never said this. They did. But they always told me to not be so gullible, to, know that there's going to be dangers. So, as a kid, how do I learn about dangers? Well, I have a love for reading. Pick up a history book. And then I became someone that studied history. Problem with studying history, especially when you have neurodivergency or a mental illness, you become dark, depressing, moody, right? But now my family says, stop being so upset about this. Look on the bright side. I look on the bright side and they're like, you're being naive. You can look on the bright side. But if you do, you have to have a level of naivety because you have to not see anything bad. That is the problem with looking on the bright side. The bright side is there's no darkness. You have to be naive to look on the bright side. You have to be blind to not see the bad things. On Facebook, on Sherwood Park groups, I comment something. The post is taken down because people report it because of what I say. There was a post about dogs and at a dog park, and their kids were sledding down this hill at a dog park. They found sticks sitting upright in rows. People were sticking sticks up so that they wouldn't let their kids, they wouldn't let kids sled down the hills. So I said, don't bring a sled to a dog park and slide down a hill. That noise is going to scare the dogs. Some dogs are aggressive. People were hammering me with hate, saying I shouldn't say this. Why am I siding with the good guy or the bad guy? Why am I siding with him? I'm giving reality. It's a dog park, not a playground. Right? So these people are bubbly. They're naive. They're on the bright side. If you look on on reality, there's no brightness in reality. Reality is, this is a messed up world we live in. People are dying by the thousands due to war, suicide, due to violence, right? All this. Reality is, we are a plague on this planet and ourselves. Can't think like that. There's good in this world, like what people say about my dancing. Okay. My dancing gonna end a war? Right? Like you look at the bright side, you try and look at the good. Great. Gonna be naive. So for me, I just try to be myself, right? And myself is not the me you would have met when I was younger.
Okay, so you read these books and you empathize too much with the war, with the suffering, and you're this bubbly kid that looked at the history books because you wanted to learn more about human nature.
Correct.
And you realized the extent to World War II and World War I and all these things that happened, and the indigenous, what they went through in the residential schools, and you looked at the horrors and you went, oh, wow, how could this happen? But it's just, a lot of people view that though, and they don't, it's not to the level of the extent where they feel gloomy towards the world. They view that and we can just do better. No?
But to do better leads to an issue.
Okay.
And that issue is you have to expose the dark. To expose the dark can lead to more darkness.
Okay, so
Look at what's happening right now in the world, right? It's a horrible place because we've exposed the dark, because we're keeping things hidden. We exposed all the truths.
yeah, I don't think I can grasp the level of the world,
No.
but I can try my best to be able to
That's
be
exactly
a good
what everyone can do is
good
try their best.
son, a good friend, and be able to, share in the community, do what's right, do what's wrong.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. And then once
Exactly.
build it up to the top echelons to maybe one day, achieve world peace. But
That is the dream. That is the dream. And if my dancing can bring that,
yeah.
well, that's a fever dream. I would do that.
Yeah.
If I could.
How do you deal with the pressure of being a public figure while managing your own mental health?
Good question. Very good question. For me, I don't know how. I couldn't tell you. I'd be me. I'd be authentic. I set a strict code to live by. Truth, respect, honesty, reality, and optimism. 5 things. I try and live by that. I look at everything and I try and force it. Some things you can't force them into. It's just not possible. Or there's not enough knowledge to know. But for me, I try. I become something that people could look towards with hope or look at and say, I want to emulate that. I want to become that.
You want to be a role model, and by fault, just following the truth, you can, you're doing right. You're just
Exactly.
trying your best.
Exactly.
Right? What message do you wish people truly understood about mental illness that they often overlook?
Look beyond the surface. When you look at a banana or an apple, do you look for the rot? Do you want it to be healthy and ripe? Or do you just not care? That is what you have to do when you look at a person. Look beyond the mask. Look beyond what is presented. Listen. See how they walk. See how they speak. Listen not to what they say, but to how they say it. That will tell you more about that person, what they're battling, than anything else. People, even good friends of mine, believe I'm autistic because I have a love of dancing. I have a love of longboarding. And when I can't longboard or dance, I become angry and depressed. Some of them are longboarders themselves, and they don't feel like this. Some of them have been longboarding longer than I have, and they don't feel like this. I'm as ingrained to longboarding and dancing. I'm as of part of it as I can be, as a person requires water or food. That is how I am. You can't look at a person and say, I'm going to learn more about them. Just going to say, no, I don't like them because they're different. How would you feel if somebody did that to you? Do unto others what you would do, what you would want done to you. Would you punch yourself in the face because somebody didn't hold the door open for you? No. Okay, so why'd you do that? Just because you don't understand something doesn't mean you now deserve, or they now deserve to be hated by you. Just like if I decided to hate you and shut you down for the rest of your life because you decided you didn't like me because I dance, so I don't like you because you bought white bread instead of whole grain bread. That's not fair to you. You're going to get upset at me for me hating you for that fact. Okay. My dancing hurting you? No. Because you got into a car accident, is that my fault? No. In the court of law, if it's a distraction, it's in your hands, not mine. So, are you upset at me because you failed to pay attention to the road? Are you upset at me because your life sucks? That's not my problem. I'm out here being myself. Be yourself. Be a happy you. Pay for someone else's drink. Feel happy that you decided to spread along a good message, a good action to someone else. What if they killed themselves right in front of you? Because when you spat at them, that was it, and they just shot themselves in the head in front of you. That was it.
So you want to send the message out there to not judge people just on the surface level.
Correct.
You want people to look at the way they go about things and the tone of their voice, and to reach out if they do need help, and to not just look at the surface level, but also look at deep within as to if they're truly struggling. And that's the code you live by.
That's exactly it.
And throughout time, your friends even, they judge you for liking certain things, and without it, you'd feel depressed. And they, just because you operate like that, they judge you for it. Right. And that's not, I'm sure they care, right? They just don't understand it. And you want to send the message out there that just because someone's different, as long as they're not hurting anyone, then they can live whatever life that they want. Did I absorb that correctly?
That is correct.
Okay. So yeah, dude, I always, sometimes when people tell me certain things, I won't understand it properly, but I hope there'll be a lot of people listening.
You've gotten everything right so far, man.
Thank you. Yeah. I think I used to never be a good listener, but then I just, I started actually reflecting on my words or my thoughts when I do converse with people, because it used to just be like me, I, but then You get on top of the mountain and you look around, nobody else is around, and it's like, what's the point of this if it's not the other people, for the collective, for them, you know? Because how long would it take for a person to kill themselves if they were alone in the world? You know, it would just be so isolating. That's no life to live. You
No.
need people. And we get so caught up in just being me, being individual, being, oh, I need to do this for me. But no, you can't do things by yourself. Even being born, you can do it by yourself, right? Two people had to come together. The doctor had to come in, they had to operate on you, or, you know, whatever. Maybe there was like a C-section that needed to be put in. Maybe the umbilical cord was around your neck, but then you came out here and the interactions, you know, the food on the table, the person that you grabbed your coffee, the person that made your chair, the bed, it's all done by people. And people really forget that we're all interconnected and that the little actions that we make can go so far
Definitely.
and you don't even know, right? And that's your testament to it, to those guys coming to you and people coming out and even a smile. A little can go a long way. Small acts, big impact, right?
Exactly it.
What role has skateboarding played in your life, and been has it been a form of escape, empowerment, or something else?
Yes. Skateboarding. It, when you hear guys that ride motorcycles, you know, and they talk about how they're free, the only thing that can stop them is themselves turning the key and putting the bike away. That's exactly what longboarding is to me. The only way to stop my longboarding is me. If I want to ride in the winter, I'm going to be crazy and messed in the head, more so than I already am. I'm telling you right now. But I'm making that choice, saying I want to preserve this deck, right? But if I wanted to, I could ride in the rain, ride in the snow. I'm the only one that stops myself. So for me, it's wings. Imagine a pair of wings on my arms or on my back. I am unchained. Even though these chains may be on me, they are broken. If for a moment, the only thing that can stop me is me, not the cracks in the road, not the people driving by, yelling at me, swerving at me, you know, not the construction. Me, and only me. I'm free. I'm flying. I'm unchained.
When you're on that board, you feel like nothing else matters. You're truly present, and you can do whatever you want, right? You can. Has that always been the case?
More so after the head injury.
Mm-hmm. Like you'd probably be scared coming back on there, right?
I actually had to push past the PTSD. I'm still pushing past the PTSD every day.
Yeah.
When I initially got out of the head injury, less than a month after, I'm back on boards. Less than a month.
Did it take a long time, or I mean, a lot of courage?
Well, how I basically pictured it was if I'm unable to hop on this board and go, what am I going to do if I get into a breakup with a significant other? What am I going to do if my job fires me or if I'm injured at work? How am I going to pick myself up if I'm unable to get back on the thing that nearly took my life? I would be less of a man if I couldn't get over the courage of riding the thing that nearly killed me. So my body was actually dislocating itself on itself. My knees were popping out of their sockets. My shoulder, I'd have to constantly pop it back in.
This is due to the injuries or just your
The
body telling you
the
not to go?
body was basically screaming at me, saying, "We're gonna have you fall apart while you're going if you don't stop." So what I'd do, I'd sit down, pop the knee back in, pop the shoulder back in, and then sit down, breathe, drink some water, re restructure myself mentally, have the shaking stop or slow down a little, and then I would go again.
That's awesome, man. That's it's not about how hard you hit, hey, it's how hard you can get hit and
Yeah,
fall down, get up and keep going.
definitely. That's what longboarding is.
Yeah.
Is it's just like skateboarding, just like biking, just like riding a motorcycle.
Yeah.
You crash, you biff it. Are you able to get up?
Yeah. I think a lot of life's always just going to be about rejection, about failure, hurt feelings, right? Because it's just so much more powerful, right? And this goes with like the negative comments, right? One negative comment equals 100 positive ones. And
Definitely.
that's why it probably resonates with you so much. Or the things that pop up are like the negative, right? Because they're powerful.
Oh,
Like when
definitely.
you feel them, you feel it in your body, you feel it in your system, you ruminate on that and you go, huh, why is it so wired in my heart, right? But it's being able to look it right in the eye and go, I'm not going to let fear dictate me. I'm going to get back on that board and I'm going to keep on trudging along.
Definitely.
And my mind's going to tell me not to, but your mind doesn't know what's good for it sometimes,
Oh no.
like you can think certain things, you can do certain things and it may not be good for you, right? But it's what you wanted at that moment, right?
Definitely.
But it's just constantly override that and look at the bad things in your life and go, I will not let this define me. And I like what you said about, okay, in the future when I have a wife and kids, right? Am I able to sacrifice myself for them? Am I able, can they rely on me? And there's a song that by Jason Mraz that I always repeat, and it's you can rely on me is one the chorus is you can rely on me when things get tough, right? And it's just that's what it is to be a man, right? To be you need to sacrifice. I mean, to connect with people, to be able to be there, because things will come. And I have this analogy of like the barbarians in the gates. Is the barbarians will come in the castle. They will come to your gates. And are you equipped? Like, do you have the walls built up? Do you have the surroundings clear? Or can they just dig up a tunnel and get through it that way? Is the gate well fortified? Right? And this is your life. The barbarians could come in with missiles. They could come in invisible, right? They could, and that's like the mind, right? Life will come at you in all different ways, right?
Definitely.
Disease, grief, hurt feelings, just disappointment, microaggressions. The girl rejects you that you've liked for a year. Now, are you gonna let that define you? Are you just gonna stop getting on your longboard and stop caring about other people? Stop living because you went through that, or will you look that failure in the eye and go, "You will not define me. I come back stronger. I come out better." You know, and what lessons from skateboarding have helped you in other parts of life, especially during your hardest moments?
Well, exactly like we just discussed, getting back up, that broken bone, it will heal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like your mind can heal. The human body is something we barely understand. We like to claim we understand it. We barely know anything. Like in Pompeii, they found preserved brain. That's impossible. They found a preserved brain.
Like they had like the ingredients to preserve the brain,
No,
like
it
in a
was just
jar, like from years ago, like billions of years ago.
the Mount Vesuvius when the mountain erupted and
Sure.
Pompeii. Yeah. They found a well-preserved brain.
Oh
Like that
wow.
was just sitting in somebody's skull.
Oh, like after they were burnt.
Yeah, this was thousands of years ago that Pompeii happened.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Pompeii. I can't remember.
I just remember that one song. Eh, ew, ew. You know that song? Those lost. It's a good song, man.
It is. It is a
Hey.
good song. I like that song.
Yeah.
It's very.
Yeah.
Actually, I might have to add that to. The
Yeah. Add that in
playlist.
the playlist, man. Yeah.
No, but like we don't understand how the brain works. The brain, like, we barely understand it.
Yeah.
The heart, we think we understand, but we don't. We like to claim that we know things. Science. It knows. We know. They're studying it. We know. Abracadabra, there's a human. Can't we do that? No? Why? We don't know. We don't know the human body. We don't know. The mind can heal itself because the Glenrose Brain Clinic and the U of A told me I shouldn't even be breathing from the head injury. They said right now I should be drooling out the moves and going, yeah. Okay. I don't know if you remember that song, but it goes, right? You may not know it.
What song is this?
It's put your arm to your wrist and you go like this, right? That's the song that always reminds me of it. Anyway,
Okay, you'll have to share that with
it's
me.
a messed up song, but it's funny, right?
Right.
But I should be like that right now, drool dripping down,
like a vegetable.
basically. Yet I'm not. Doctors were shocked. They're like, how? And I'm like, well, I just got back on the board.
You're hard as shit, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got that David Goggins in me,
no,
you know?
exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mind over matter.
Hell yeah, bro.
Right? And literally.
You don't know me, son, who's gonna carry the boats. Yeah.
Exactly. Carry the boats. You know?
Yeah.
So for me, you don't know what's going to happen. But skateboarding and longboarding, doctors claimed that actually helped accelerate my healing process, even though my body was dislocating itself. They were shocked at my memory. They said I'm one of the highest ranked for the memory recollection and all that math and all the tests at the Glenrose. They said I'm one of the highest in years. And they said that can be a thanks to me riding the longboard because I'm now getting the blood pumping. They said it was thanks to me doing the push-ups out there because I've actually done push-ups and sit-ups as a break, from doing some dancing. I'll just sit there and be like, you know what? Maybe some people might want to go to the gym. Let me give them the boost, So I'll just start doing push-ups. I'll do 50 push-ups a day sometimes, right? Out there dancing, doesn't matter the weather, right? And they're like, you getting the blood pumping, you reading books, you doing the thing that should have killed you made you heal, right? Now, I'm not saying don't do drugs or don't do drugs, okay? Don't do that, okay? If drugs nearly killed you, that's not okay, okay? If the drugs nearly killed you, stop doing them.
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs, kids, right? Like but it's the thing that nearly took my life healed me, both mentally and physically. Like
Well,
that is shocking.
well, it's something that you enjoyed, right? And it
Yeah.
almost took your life, but being able to go back on there just probably changed the neurons in your brain to be able to look at adversity and go, okay, we're not going anywhere. Okay,
No.
we, despite what happens, we are staying, and it comes back stronger. Hey, and I'm not well versed. I mean, I'm in my fourth year of psychology, but like I just know the brain, the digger you deep with any facet, right, the harder it is to explain certain things. And you could say, oh, dopamine, this is why we experience pleasure and we do certain things. And then you go, okay, why do we do certain things? Oh, it's because we want to feel love. Okay, what is love? Okay, and then, oh, it's a feeling of this. And then the more you keep digging, the more you just, wait, this doesn't make sense.
No.
This doesn't, and you can just go about it with fulfillment, with feeling, right? And I don't think we're truly ever meant to find the
No.
source, right? I think for me, I'm religious. Like I'm a
Same.
man of God. I believe Jesus died for our sins, and I do experience a lot of doubt here and there, but I do believe that that's the source. That God is there for me. God put me in this world to be able to care for others, to be able to experience the adversity and learn easy or hard ways, and be able to share stories like yours, right? And be able to connect. And I don't think we're truly meant to, find one role, right? There's all different purposes all around. Like right now, my purpose is to be able to, have a good conversation with a friend and to share your story. And then maybe at work, I can just be there for get the quota done and connect with my coworkers. And then when you're on that corner right there, right, you're making sure you're giving it your best, feeling your emotions, improving as a person. And just it's so complex to be human, man. It's truly remarkable, hey, to be able to live every single day and go, whoa, I get to live. It's a
Definitely.
blessing to feel love, to feel pain, to feel pleasure. You gotta absorb all that. It's a blessing. Uh,
Honestly.
have you ever used skating as a way to meet people or build a community, especially when you felt isolated?
Yes. I made over 5 friends, not over. I made 5 friends just skating alone. Not including the dancing. I've made quite a few friends just doing dancing. You're one of them.
There we go. Yeah, buddy.
Hey,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
dude, we're
know,
gonna we're gonna keep in contact all this while, man. Because
yes,
we first met what, like a month ago?
just about, yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen you so many times now. Yeah, on my runs.
Yeah,
I love seeing you on my runs, bro. Like it's great. I like, oh gosh, I have to, even though it's not on my route, I always go and say hi.
yes,
Yeah.
honestly. But
Yeah.
it's, trying to build that community is important to me because, you know, I've been lobbying the government here in Sherwood Park to actually build an indoor skate park for us so that us skaters aren't shut down for 5 to 6 months.
Do you go to Millennium, the skate park there?
I can't do tricks, so I'm unable to.
You could
Uh,
learn.
I've tried. I've tried. The problem is that for me, I spent 2 months trying to learn the ollie.
Really?
2 months.
You give it your best.
I gave everything.
It's
I
just
was wearing a helmet. I was wearing pads.
yeah.
2 months. Nada.
Yeah. Like
The only thing I was actually able to achieve was just going. And I was able to achieve long distance. So it's called pumping, right? Which is pushing, right? And so I was able to do that. And I could go and go and go and go. That's where my skill lies. Not in the tricks. but in just the movement going, like a never ending road, right? Even if I have to go back the other way, a never ending road. Whereas with the tricks, yeah, I could do the darks.
AI, bro, listening to us.
Damn.
Robots.
Damn. I could learn how to do a dark slide. I could learn how to do the 900. I could learn how to do an ollie kickflip. But I learn all that. I do it all. But I've stayed in one space. That's not freedom. That's confinement. Right? Yeah, I could go and I could skate on that park bench. Cops come write me a ticket. The indoor skate park.
Somebody listening right now, learning tricks and stuff. What do you say to them?
Push on. Yes, the scrapes and the bruises and the cuts and the broken bones, they're going to hurt. I promise you, they're going to hurt. You're going to wake up the next day and you're going to be like, I'm not moving. But you're going to have to get back on the board. Even if you're not doing tricks, okay? Even if you're on a bike or a scooter, you injure yourself. Get back on. Yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, that fear might lock you down. Push through it. Are you afraid of heights? Yet, are you able to go to the World Water Park at West Ed? Don't you go down those slides? I have a terrifying fear of heights. When I'm going up on those stairs, I'm Spider-Manning to the ground, punching the ground, just trying to not look over the ledge. Because I have ADHD, okay? Severe ADHD, and I'm always looking around. So I'm punching to have my body focus on the pain, okay? But I still go down the slides. Just not the really big ones, okay? I'm going to be honest here. I don't do the really big ones. Okay? But I push myself through that pain. Like both my knees are cut up. My elbow's cut up right now. Both of the bones are bruised as well. It's not a good time. But I push past because I know that once that pain is gone, the ride is going to feel so much better. That dancing, I'll be able to go back and be able to do the V-step again, I'll be able to fall to the knees faster instead of being like, oh, my back, oh, my knees, Push through. No, it's going to be scary. You can do it. You put the mind to it. The only wall, the only limit is you.
Yeah.
So break that wall and say, I'm going to do it. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Maybe an arm. You'll grow back, I'm sure. You're Spider-Man, aren't you?
Technologies.
Oh, technology. Already,
Yeah.
They have the exosuits, man.
They do, yeah.
You're going to have to make a metal board.
Yeah.
I believe in you. Make the metal board. Get the exosuit. You'll do fine.
Man, thank you so much for coming on the long-term podcast, bro.
It's my pleasure, man, and my honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it. You're very well spoken, man. Maybe you should do, bro. Could we do a podcast on the side, like where the the Staples is at, like across there in that corner? Like we set up a table and you and I just do a pod. Honestly, that'd be funny. That'd be so funny.
That would actually be a lot of fun.
That would be fun. Hey,
and people would be looking at us like, look at those crazy guys.
What are they? They're doing a podcast. They could do it.
Maybe
like a
we should join it, man.
Yeah, yeah, and we could even have like a seat where like people could join us, like a different mic, and then you could we'll do little breaks where you can dance, and I'll just be on the side, you know? Yeah.
No, you're gonna have to join,
I'll
man.
have to join
We got to
you.
do the conga.
You have to join me. You have to teach me some dance moves.
I will gladly do that.
I'm very rigid, dude.
So was I.
Yeah.
You gotta just
I feel like,
feel the
bro,
music.
but I feel like tricks to skateboarding to you is like me to dancing. You know what I mean?
Bro.
Okay.
And it'll be easy. I promise.
Sweet. But yeah, do you have any last words to people who are struggling out there, and to your viewers, anything?
That's a good question. No matter what, the hardship, pain, the loss, the demons that are fighting, doesn't matter if you're religious, doesn't matter if you're believing in Scientology, doesn't matter if you're, religious in the sense of you believe in the old gods, pagan gods, doesn't matter. Just know you push on and you say, not today. Not today.
Yeah.
You will find you'll be able to say that tomorrow. You'll be able to say that the next day. No matter what. Know that I believe in you. Know that Advin believes in you.
I believe in you.
Know that David Goggin believes in you.
David Goggins, you got that dog in you. Stay hard, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not that hard though.
Not that hard. Yeah, no. Not Viagra hard.
No.
Yeah.
More like a guilty pleasure hard.
Hey, never fear the storm. Learn to dance in the rain.
I did that the other day when it was hailing.
Yeah, bro.
I was actually out there, man. And my if you look there, I'm scabbing right there.
Dedication, brother.
Oh, it hurt, but it was
so good after though, hey?
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Until I fell asleep, and then I'm like, ah.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, why did I do this? For the pain. But yeah, as always, to everyone listening and watching, there is a place for you in this chaotic world. Never lose hope. Strengthen your faith. Never lose soap.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Soap. Yes. No. Hope.
Don't drop the soap.
Don't drop the soap. Don't go to prison. Don't do drugs. Don't break the law.
Exactly.
Follow the law. Unless the law is like a dictatorship, to which
overthrow it.
Yeah. But yeah, don't lose hope. Strengthen your faith and keep it long term. Caden Skelton, everyone, tune in. If you haven't seen him and you're from Sherwood Park, are you really part of the community?
Exactly.
No, really, dude.
I've actually had a lot of people tell me they've never seen me and they live in Sherwood Park.
Exactly. Like, do you just not go outside? Like, what is this?
I guess not.
Go outside, meet Caden. If you haven't seen him, go to Baseline. He'll be there Monday to Sunday. Usually. Yeah. Every day. No breaks. Okay. That's it. Peace. That's it, brother. That was good.
Yes.